Okay, so the story I'm about to tell you was purely by accident. Many people won't believe this, but honestly, it's really weird how this happened, and to this day, I am super embarrassed. But before the story starts, make sure you guys do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And also, not to mention, I am live on Kick streaming, telling these crazy stories live to you guys, so make sure you guys join in the Kick streams at kick.com/Bubba. Other than that, let's get straight into this insane but really embarrassing story. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. So today's story takes place back when I was actually in grade 12. So in grade 12, I remember basically we had this really cool language arts teacher. Now, I don't really understand language arts, to be honest, because language and arts is not the actual thing we end up learning in that class. But I remember in LA, which we called language arts, we had this teacher that was really outgoing. Like, this teacher was the type of teacher to try to level to our kind of vibe and basically try to be cool and kind of hip, I guess, in some way, which was really embarrassing and really awkward, which I think we all know that when teachers do this, it's usually that awkward situation. But what can I say? At least she was trying. Going on though, I remember one time we ended up actually doing a language arts project on social media. Now, luckily for me, I know a lot about social media, and I'm guessing you guys do too, since you guys are watching this video. But I remember this teacher ended up saying the project was, well, she said it like this. Okay, class, so today we're going to be basically learning how much time does the average teenager use social media. Now, all of us kind of like estimated a number in our head of how much time we use social media. And me, I didn't really know if playing Call of Duty online was considered social media. But at the same time, I am on my phone a lot. And so are most teenagers, like you guys, for example, watching this video. Actually, comment down below. Are you watching this on your phone, or are you watching this on what kind of device? I'm actually generally curious. Going on from there though, I remember in front of the whole entire class, this teacher ended up making a Snapchat account. It was a brand new Snapchat account, and basically what she said was, okay, so I made the Snapchat account for you guys to add me on, and basically as a class together, we'll be tracking how often we use Snapchat, because that was the most popular app that every student in our class had, which honestly, Snapchat is one of the most popular apps ever. And by the way, follow my Snapchat page. Going on though, I remember I found it kind of weird adding my teacher on Snapchat, but since it was a school project, I guess in a way I was participating. So I ended up adding her. When I did, I remember she ended up making a bit emoji, and one thing led to another. I had my teacher on Snapchat. Now, having my teacher on Snapchat was not a bad thing, but also wasn't a good thing, because for example, when we wanted to skip class and communicate with other students and, you know, basically post of us leaving and ditching class, the teacher would see it. So a lot of us kind of like tried to like find ways to make our teacher not see our stories and stuff, but Snapchat wasn't that advanced yet to basically control who sees what. So I remember a lot of us basically stopped using Snapchat as much, or posting on our stories, I should say, since, you know, that moment. But little did I know, honestly, adding my teacher on Snapchat was the worst thing I could ever do. Now, reminder, I was in grade 12, and you guys know the stories on this channel is literally all about me doing the Devil's Tango. So I remember what ended up happening one time was that I was basically talking to this girl that I was actually interested in. Now, this girl, she was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed baddie. Like, she was so hot. And I remember I walked up to her and ended up adding her on Snapchat. Now, the one thing I realized is that Snapchat has these things called bit emojis. If you don't know what they are, basically, they're these like little characters that make, you know, yourself into a game character. It's kind of like those cool Xbox 360 characters that were a thing back then. I know I'm pretty old school, but if you remember that, then I guess you're an OG gamer as well. But going on, I remember I ended up adding this girl, and basically her bit emoji looked exactly, and I mean literally to the finest point, exactly just like my teacher's. Now, I remember I would always, you know, basically sometimes get, you know, my teacher and her confused, and obviously I know you guys are saying, oh, like, why didn't you just change her name? And that's because I wasn't really thinking, I guess. I don't know, I kind of just didn't do it. I don't know, I was being a dumb teenager, okay? I was in high school, for God's sake. You guys really think I cared? So anyways, I remember one time I ended up actually messaging this girl that I was interested in. Hey, do you want to go on, you know, a date? And she said she was down, and basically me and her, we ended up going on a date one day. I remember me and her, I ended up picking her up from her place, and me and her, we ended up driving to a restaurant. We were eating and all this stuff, and I remember I ended up sending a photo of me going on a date with her and posting it on my Snapchat page, and funny enough, my teacher did reply to it. She replied to it saying, hope my students are having fun, which is really cringe, but at at the same time, I guess it was just kind of weird. I ended up showing my date, like, you know, basically what she said, and my date was actually kind of laughing at that because she found it funny. But going on from there, I remember afterwards, basically, the night was ending and it was getting late. And I remember I told her, hey, like, do you want to go back to my place? You know, to go do the Devil's Tango. But then she ended up getting a phone call from her father, and her father wanted her home instantly. I don't know what it is, but basically, apparently, some issue was going down back at home, and she needed to go back home instantly. So I remember we got back in my car, I drove her straight home, she gave me a kiss, and basically went back inside. But before she went back inside, she ended up telling me, snap me later, and winked at me, and basically went back inside. What basically that means, ladies and gentlemen, is that I'm gonna get some tonight over the phone. Dun, dun, dun. Sorry, that was cringe, but you know what I mean. So I remember from there, I ended up going back home, and basically I ended up, you know, playing some Call of Duty, getting ready for bed. But as I was laying in bed, I decided to basically hit up my blonde-haired, blue-eyed baddie over the phone, and I basically ended up snapping her. We snapped back and forth, and honestly, it got to the point where things got a little frisky, or spicy, I should say. But going on, I remember me and her, we were sending photos, you know, of each other, you know, NSFW photos. You guys know what I mean. The photos, right? And basically, I remember I ended up sending a photo of my eggplant to her. She sent me her cherries. You know, it was a back and forth situation. And I remember the one time I sent a video, the one time, okay, this was the only time I've ever, okay, no, I've done it many times, but this is the one time I actually did it for this person. I'm not joking. I ended up sending it to my teacher. Yep, apparently I got both of the bit emojis confused, and one thing led to another. Me and my dumb right hand, because my left hand was busy, ended up sending my teacher a photo, or sorry, I should say a video of me and my eggplant. I remember when I sent the video, I was panicking because I didn't realize it until after my teacher opened it. My teacher found it weird that I was snapping her at, like, you know, 2 in the morning, but apparently she was up as well. I have no idea why, but when she opened my video, she goes into the chat and types something. But I didn't open the chat. I did not want to see it. And for everyone right now in the comments saying, oh, Bubba, why didn't you just delete the video? You couldn't delete messages that you already sent back then. So I was really panicking. She opened it, she sent a message, and I did not answer. And as for the girl that I was sending photos to, she ended up messaging me saying, is everything all right? I think I just sent my teacher a video, is what I replied with. And she started laughing and freaking out because it was so bad. I remember the next day when I went to school, I went inside my classroom, and like right as I walked in, my teacher looks at me as if I am literally like insane or something. To be fair, she did see my giant, enormous eggplant. So, I mean, I don't blame her because, like, you know, me walking around in high school, I almost had a third leg. But sorry, going on, she ended up basically looking at me in the most awkward way possible. I sat down and she looks at me saying, Baba, can I talk to you after class? And I remember after class that day, I basically had a safety talk about how I should be careful of what I send over the internet and how everything is traced on the internet, which is true, by the way. And yeah, overall, lesson of the day, be careful who you add on Snapchat or on any social media, and also be careful who you send photos to. Seriously, some people do not want to see the eggplant. Anyways, guys, that is basically it for today's story. Make sure you guys do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And like I always say, just fall for more embarrassing stories. Peace out, guys.